Hey guys, what's up? So I wanted to talk about this, now Eddie Hearn's willing to pursue Terrence Crawford after he said that, he said this about Boots as well, that he's, not very marketable or something along those lines. Also talked, hasn't really talked very highly of Terrence Crawford as well. Bottom line is this, you're going to have to pay Terrence Crawford. It's that simple. I don't think Terrence Crawford has a problem fighting Hearn in his boots. I don't have a problem with Terrence Crawford fighting Hearn in his boots. I see there's a little revival, though, with the Errol Spence fans. That's cool. We done been down this road again. Need I remind you, and I remember this like it's just, clockwork. But you guys are already going through the same cycles, same phases. Crawford doesn't take this fight, he's ducking. You guys said the same thing about Sean Porter. You guys, every step of the way, you even tried to claim he was ducking Errol Spence. Me personally, I don't think Hearn in his boots really wants to fight Terrence Crawford. I really don't. He talks the same way, just like all those other dudes talked. You gotta poke him a little bit to get him to say Terrence Crawford, you know what I'm saying? I've made videos on this, I've used footage, but, it is what it is. Both guys need a fight, but the bottom line is this, Terrence Crawford is 36, he definitely deserves a payday. Now, as far as the fight itself, again, Boots, we talked about this yesterday, I believe. I think I came out with a video literally yesterday. You haven't even done what a Teofimo Lopez or what a Devin Haney have done, and both those guys are younger than Hearn in his boots. Boots already has close to what? He has a ridiculous amount of fights for a guy being in his position, but he definitely has been fed soft serve his entire professional career. I see that there's more videos coming out today trying to hype Boots up. You got, I guess, sparring partners claiming that he knocked out a heavyweight, but he couldn't knock out Chuda, whatever his name is. It is what it is, man. This is the same. Let's hype ourselves up. Let's psych each other up, and then it's going to be group therapy session after the fight. But it is what it is. I want to see this fight too, and I want to see Terrence Crawford get back into the ring. So, I mean, Crawford's already said, send a check, pretty much. If the business is right, if the price is right, I'm pretty sure we'll all get to see that fight. I'll get to make some, some film studies, whatever else, and I may have a potential highlight film that I can make, which, I always love to do. I get to nerd out and pick out music and all that. I like doing that type of stuff. But I've talked about this before. A lot of these fighters today, the way they're being brought up, I think it stunts their growth when they're not, they keep having them like in the assimilation pool, They don't really throw them out into the ocean. They pacify them too much. And I think it gets to the point where these fighters, again, they coddle them and everything else, and it actually stunts their growth. Hearn in his boots, I see him more as just trying to play the part. He's trying to let these people talk into his ear. And listen, these same people, they were Sean Porter fans one day. Next day, they could care less. You know what I'm saying? They're Danny Garcia fans one day. Oh, that's a good fight, when it pertained to trying to prop up Errol Spence. Then you'll see how they truly feel about it, Danny Garcia. You know what I'm saying? Boots, again, you'll be the flavor of the month for the time being. But again, you'll just be thrown away. You know what I'm saying? As if nothing ever happened, and they'll go back to acting like, well, we already know the process again. It's going to be excuses, but it's going to get discredited. Boots was too young, he was unproven or whatever else. I care less about the excuses, but we all know what's going to happen. I do think this is a good fight, though, because I've always said this. Typically, Bud has problem with guys who actually have punch placement and timing. And Boots has more raw natural talent than a guy like Errol Spence, for example. You know what I'm saying? he's got punch placement. He's got timing. He knows how to place his shots and things like that, sees openings. So, Bud, you know, I've already said this. I see this playing closely to like Kell Brook. But it's going to be better than the Kell Brook fight, obviously. But Bud is going to have some problems, especially early on. That's just going to be the bottom line. And Bud is the type of dude, again, there's a lot of pride, ego, and bravado there. Although he's toned down a bit in the past couple years. You know, people, this has led them to believe that, claiming that he gets hit too much and this and that. And I've always maintained this as well. What you guys say about Terrence Crawford actually applies more to a guy like Hearn and his boots. You guys try to say Crawford is just athleticism. Spence has fundamentals. Again, that type of stuff applies more to a Hearn in his boots, guys. Like I said, I know you guys are just trying to hype each other up, fluff each other up like you typically do. You know what I'm saying? We done seen this same rerun. You know, we done seen this episode so many times. You know what I'm saying? It's the same motif that we see all the time, especially when it comes to Terrence Crawford. It is going to be a good fight, especially the first 6 rounds, possibly. He is going to outlast a Kell Brook, you understand? But I do see it playing out somewhat similarly. Bud's eventually going to get his timing, especially when he like stops trying to figure dude out, because he's like, I said this so many times, he's like an anime character. He's like, they got to prove themselves, so they'll allow themselves to be more vulnerable and stuff like that, just so that they can learn their opponent and grow from it. But still, he has that type of mindset, and it's crazy. But you're going to see kind of the same thing, how Kell Brook was timing Bud a little bit better, but Bud ultimately figured out what was going on and was able to land, you know, the ultimate timed shot. And it was just the beginning of the end from there. Boots, I know he doesn't have the chin that people, you know, want him to have. There's a reason why they moved him the way they did. I always say this. You know, it's always telling how people truly feel about their fighters. You can tell that by the way they move. We said this with Errol Spence. There's a reason why he didn't fight power punchers, for example. You know, there's a reason why they didn't even want to fight Old Boy off of 2 weeks' notice. I already forgot dude's name. But Jeff Horn fought him, beat him. Jeff Horn said that was the dude, hardest hitter he ever faced, and that was even after fighting Terrence Crawford. And I forgot dude's name. You know, I'm not into boxing as much as I used to, but I do pay attention to certain fighters. You know, the thing about Hearn in his boots as well is, although he's like very talented, like we said, just has obscene raw talent, he is a broken record. He does the same thing kind of over and over again. So picture that kind of like an Amir Khan. Amir Khan was a silver medalist, right? You know, very skillful, things like that. But he eventually got to the point where he just keeps doing the same thing over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Boots, he's kind of the same way. And he does a lot of poker face in the fights. I've said this countless times. I can even back it up with film. But I know when he gets hurt and when he, you know, puts on poker face. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they may not catch it. And then if this fight does come to fruition, I'll be able to show this in film study. But Bud, again, I keep saying this time and time again, he's kind of a different fighter altogether. You know, you got these other guys, they all fit in the same bucket. They're all around the same level. And then you have a guy like Terrence Crawford, he always proves that, you know, he can raise his level when he wants to. You know what I'm saying? He may play with you for a little bit. I've heard people say this, play with his food too much in certain fights. He may do that, and it does make him vulnerable. But I noticed this with a Floyd Mayweather too. It took him to get hit a couple more times before he starts tightening up and things like that during a fight. So I'm not too worried. I'm just saying that, you know, I kind of see a safe scenario as a Kell Brook fight. He's going to have to deal with timing. He's going to have to deal with a guy who is just as gifted as him for that part. And, you know, that what you're best at typically is what you're most vulnerable to. You don't expect people to be able to use the same type of weapons that you're used to using on opponents. But again, I know Boots, just by the way they've been moving him. And when I hear him talking things like that, I don't see full confidence when I see this dude talk. I see him trying to act more so puffed up. You know, he tries to act like he's ready, but I know he's not ready. You know what I'm saying? We'll see as days go by. You know, this is the same old broken record, as I always say, beating the same dead horse. It's going to be a good, entertaining fight. I mean, what else is available out there for Terrence Crawford? I hope Eddie Hearn and them, they pay Terrence Crawford and we do get to see this fight. And like I said, it gives me content to actually make, something that I'll be interested in and be passionate about. But again, we'll just see what happens, because, you know, boxing, when you try to follow this news and things like that, they'll report one thing and then you come to find out that's just not the case. You know what I'm saying? We'll just see how all this goes. You know, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.